everybody loved Trump. You see Trump out in public, everybody loved Trump. Everybody support and respect Trump. It's these dumb women on the show that just making up stuff in their mind.
I'm honored, I'm pleasured to introduce the 45th and 47th President of the United States of America, President Donald J. Trump.
I want to thank Jaxson. This is going to be a future Hall of Famer in my book. Thank you. Thank you, Jaxson. Great.
For somebody to back a guy like Trump, whose history in discrimination and racism goes back to housing discrimination.
In the 70s, when you know the history of this president and you know the biases of this president, for a certain community, the Black community, for me, this feels personal.
I want to tell you guys about Synergy. If you're looking for an energy drink that's good, sustainable, natural, Synergy is what you got. If you need some help sleeping, Synergy Night will help you get to sleep with melatonin. It's 1 milligram of melatonin, mostly magnesium and ashwagandha. And so you put that stuff together, it will help you get good quality sleep. If you want pure product and you want a company that agrees with your values, here you go. SynergyLife.com, SynergyLife.com. Jaxson Dart, I've always thought he was a tremendous player when he played for Ole Miss. I have to say his fiancée wife is a 10, and that's why they hating on him. Can I be honest? Homeboy is a good-looking young man. No homo. Good-looking young man. Very talented. Got a lot of money in the bank. And that woman on his arm is a 10 out of 10. And they cannot, and then he support Trump. So they can't stay, their brains are popping right now because this young man decided to live his own life, do his thing, and boss up, and they mad. Let me just show you what they're mad at. When I say they, you'll see. The View had something to say about it. All kind of people write something. Even some of his teammates had something to say about it. Uniquely enough, I think I agree in part with Emmanuel Acho, but we'll get to that here in a second. But let me just show you the intro that he did in introducing President Donald Trump at a rally, which is a once-in-a-lifetime accomplishment. I don't care who you are. Roll the clip.
What's up, what's up, what's up? Yeah. Big Blue Nation, it's a pleasure to be here. I got to start this off with a Go Big Blue. I'd love it if y'all would follow with me. Go Big Blue. Go Big Blue. Go Big Blue. Go Big Blue. What an honor, what a privilege it is to be here. And without further ado, I'm grateful, I'm honored, I'm pleasured to introduce the 45th and 47th President of the United States of America, President Donald J. Trump.
And I'm proud to be an American.
All right, y'all, let me just explain this real quick because I know a lot of people put a lot of pressure on these young people. That kid is like 24 years old. He's a kid. And I have to get my hat off to someone that can do that under pressure. You got to think Jaxson Dart is not a public speaker. He's probably really good. He's very smart. Obviously, he's intelligent because he's a quarterback. But, like, that's got to be difficult. Imagine how many of you guys can go out there and introduce the President of the United States without passing out. I mean, I even am nervous. If I ever had to introduce President Trump, I would be incredibly nervous. But he did it. But when he did it, you know who had a problem with it. All right, pull up the tweet. Abdul Carter, which is probably one of the best players in college football when he came out in the NFL draft. He got drafted to the New York Giants, same team. And he's an electrifying player. Why he had to come out and make a thing about this is crazy to me because if Jaxson Dart went out and opened for Barack Obama, I said Michelle, like she gonna run for president. They'll never run for president. Y'all don't get it twisted. They don't want that drama no more anyway. But if, what's her name? Hillary Clinton or Kamala Nepat Harris, and he went and opened for them, why would Abdul Carter not say, he would probably not say anything. He got to understand that he's getting brainwashed to think that his teammate opening for the President of the United States that won 2 terms, he actually won 3 times, if you ask me, opening for him is a bad thing. That's crazy. You got to understand you're getting brainwashed. But anyway, Abdul Carter said this, and then there's a lot of other responses. And I think that Emmanuel Acho, even though I don't like half of the stuff he says sometimes because I think he woke, but Emmanuel Acho actually says something that makes sense. Now, I don't agree 100% with what Emmanuel Acho said, but I think he's one of the fairest takes that I've seen when it comes to the controversy surrounding Jaxson Dart and this whole thing with introducing President Donald Trump. Roll the clip.
All right, it's time to have an uncomfortable conversation about what the hell is going on in New York. Jaxson Dart, the quarterback, supporting President Donald Trump? He's allowed to do that. He's a citizen. He's allowed to have a freedom of thought. Abdul Carter, first-round pick, his teammate calling him out? He's allowed to do that. If Jaxson Dart's allowed to support Donald Trump, then his teammate is allowed to support his grievances with him doing that. Here is my issue. Jaxson Dart, you...
Now, this is where I disagree. In part, is his take on Jaxson Dart. Roll it.
You know how several of your brothers, your teammates, your friends, your ride or dies, how they might feel about this individual. So I don't think there's a lot of wisdom or discernment in very publicly supporting an individual who many of your teammates feel offended by. So yes, Jaxson Dart, you're allowed to do whatever the hell you want. But I don't know that it's a super wise decision without necessarily consulting in some of your teammates. Abdul Carter, you're allowed to express your frustrations with it. I don't think it's super wise to do it publicly because now you got 36 million people looking at a tweet of Abdul Carter, you calling out your boy. Keep in mind, y'all are both supposed to be the future of the New York Giants. One a first-round quarterback, one a first-round edge rusher. Y'all both supposed to be the face of the franchise. So with that being said, Jaxson Dart, I don't personally have an issue with him supporting Donald Trump. He's a human. He can support who he wants to support. Was it pretty stupid, given the reaction it will cause to his other brothers that are humans and have human emotions? Absolutely. I don't think it was wise.
All right, that's enough. Think about this. How many people actually wrote something online or had a public problem about Jaxson Dart? One. Are you sure, Emmanuel Acho, that half his team, because they're black? Are you sure a lot of his teammates have a problem with what he did? They supposed to be ride or die. Let's put this together. If I'm ride or die, that means no matter what you do, I still got your back. I'm telling you, if I'm ride or die, if you go out and support Barack Obama, and I don't like Barack Obama, you go out and support one of these Democrats, I don't like Democrats, and you open for one of them, I'm ride or die, so I still got your back, bro. I'm not going to say nothing about you. I'm not going to publicly diss you. If I got something to say, I'll say it to you. But in public, I'm gonna hold you down like a quarter pound. I'll get on there and say, y'all better leave my quarterback alone. I don't care what he has a right to do whatever he want to do. I don't like it, but I'm not going to put that in public. I'm going to support my brother in public if you really ride or die. But these people ain't ride or die. They're tribal. They hate Donald Trump for no reason. We finna find out why. But Boomer, which he is probably a boomer, but he had an incredible thing to say, which I think I might actually agree with what he said a little more than Emmanuel Acho, because he kind of brought some receipts and more of a franchise perspective to this whole thing. Roll the clip.
This was a real error on the part of Abdul Carter, not on the part of Jaxson Dart. Jaxson Dart was asked to do something to introduce the President of the United States. How many people get an opportunity to do something like that, regardless of who the president is? You may have hated Barack Obama. You may have hated Joe Biden. And some guys didn't want to go to the White House because they didn't like those presidents, just like other guys didn't want to go to the White House because they didn't like President Trump. But to put this out like a child on social media is ridiculous. And then when I heard, we spoke man to man, there was only one man on that call, and that was Jaxson Dart. You were a man who was late to meetings. You were a man who didn't live up to your draft choice. You're a man who wanted to wear number 56. And by the way, your idol, number 56, has introduced Donald Trump numerous times. So I don't want to hear this. So he made another just boneheaded error by going to social media.
I think I agree with that perspective better, given some of the statistical data points. Now, here is Lawrence Taylor introducing Trump. Listen.
I grew up a Democrat, and I've always been a Democrat until I met this man right here. I'll tell you what. He will not have to worry about nobody in my family ever vote for a Democrat again. Okay.
Now, Abdul Carter, come on, shawty. Where's your tweet about Lawrence Taylor, your idol, whom you wanted to wear the same number as Lawrence Taylor to represent Lawrence Taylor? And to be honest, Lawrence Taylor said, bro, don't piggyback off me. Make your own name. Why don't you write to Lawrence Taylor? Oh, because Lawrence Taylor is black. So Lawrence Taylor being black, I'm telling you, black people do this, y'all. That's why they hate me, because they don't like me telling other people what black people be doing. You didn't say nothing about him, but you said something about Jaxson Dart because it's racial to you. The white boy supporting Donald Trump is a racial matter to you, so you feel like you need to say something for the culture. Come on, bro. Y'all can't play with me. I'll add all y'all stuff. Let me look at the jersey sales real quick, just so y'all know the perspective. Jaxson Dart's jersey was the #1 seller. Matter of fact, I might buy one of these jerseys because I like people that stand on business, and I like people that are like-minded. I might get me one of these jerseys in red. All right, let's get to some other bonehead nut jobs who had something to say about this. I think the people that I showed had a reasonable response. Now, these fools are off the rocker. They didn't fell off somewhere and bump their heads. Y'all know who I'm talking about. DeVere. Look at Whoopi Goldturds and the rest of these mindless women. Y'all make women look bad. Y'all make you look like y'all don't have a brain. Why can't y'all have common sense on this show? But you can't, and I like talking about y'all. I ain't gonna lie. Y'all give me a lot of fodder. Roll the clip.
New York Giants quarterback Jaxson Dart surprised a lot of fans and some of his teammates Friday for this appearance off the field. Take a look.
What an honor, what a privilege it is to be here. And without further ado, I'm grateful, I'm honored, I'm pleasured to introduce the 45th and 47th President of the United States of America, President Donald J. Trump.
I want to thank Jaxson Dart. This is going to be a future Hall of Famer in my book. Thank you. Thank you, Jaxson. Great. I'm looking at Jaxson. I'd like to know, is there any woman in the audience that thinks they can tackle that guy? Because I'd like to meet you. I'd like to shake your hand. I don't know. Jaxson, you think you could play against women okay?
I don't know what all that was.
Yeah, because you're dumb.
But some people were not happy with Dart's open political endorsement. I mean, isn't he entitled to his...
It's America.
I mean, he's entitled to his thing.
For somebody to back a guy like Trump, whose history in discrimination and racism goes back to housing discrimination.
In the 70s.
In the 70s.
In the 70s, his father had the housing discrimination that was rectified. It wasn't Donald Trump's sole ownership, and Donald Trump did not do that exclusively. And Donald Trump since then have had every black person on planet Earth under his armpit in a picture, and everybody loved Donald Trump. Y'all can't keep going to that same stupid stuff trying to give ghost stories. Donald Trump has been proven beyond. You just saw Lawrence Taylor, one of the greatest football players ever, said he was a Democrat his whole life until who? Donald Trump. Y'all stupid, bro. Come on.
These DEI attacks and posting pictures of the Obamas as apes.
Time out. He did not make the post. He did not post that. It was not even the original post. It was the guy was whoever posted it was screen recording something, and then the next slide was that. That wasn't the post. And Donald Trump never posted it. And it wasn't even the purpose of the post. And you know it, but you're getting on TV and lying about it. This is why y'all lose and why y'all confused and why people love Trump. Because y'all stupid and y'all make up lies, and people that got common sense know that it's bull crap. And then you go to even the thing that was a meme that somebody else created that had nothing to do with Donald Trump's post. It just so happened to be the next post on the screen recording. They had everybody was animals. It wasn't just Barack Obama and them. Everybody was animals. All right. Let her finish.
He's on a team that's 55% to 60% the NFL is that many people, that much percentage of black people.
Yeah,
Black. That is just the definition of stupidity and
Time
racist.
out. Because black people are stupid. That's what you're saying? Y'all so out of touch with reality. You're literally saying black people are stupid. You're saying that every black person thinks alike. So if the majority of the players on his team are black, they must not like Trump. Y'all got to see how many people follow me and how many people in my DMs that communicate with me, that are NFL, that are celebrities, that are like, they love Donald Trump. Y'all the ones trying to put that on people. People ain't said nothing about it. One player on his team said something about it. Probably 80% of them like Trump. Come on, bro. Roll it.
And the people on the field, having been on teams, you know, the whole point is we're in this together. And it kind of got that foxhole mentality of we're out there, we're playing together. To not, even if that is what you believe, which I let anyone, that's the beauty of America. It's the most liberal belief that we can all have our own belief. I get that. But there would be consequences. You're the quarterback, which is a central player on that field.
The leader.
A leader. And the majority, it's actually 75% of the New York Giants and the NFL as a whole are black or non-white.
Yeah.
To not think about the most recent offenses from the 8 video to these voting rights things, which even people that aren't that dialed in are recognizing, wait, are you now just going to marginalize and completely disenfranchise? To have thought about how that might feel to your team, the ones that are on the field with you, I would have handled it differently.
Time out. First of all, shut the up talking about football. None of y'all talked about football, have ever played football. You ain't never been in a locker room. Unless you was on somebody's phone after they passing your pictures around because you nasty. But you ain't never been in a locker room. Don't tell football players what football players think. We not like you women. Y'all moody and doing all that stuff. Man, if our quarterback did something, we support our quarterback. What are y'all saying? I'm telling you, even the players that support Trump, if Jaxson Dart would have went out and supported a Democrat, man, that's our quarterback. We're going to support him no matter what. We in the trenches together. We do summer workouts together. We're not stupid like y'all. And then for you to think every black person on the team is too stupid to do any research as it relates to this fake voter rights thing, you are downplaying the intelligence of athletes. Y'all cutting up, bro. Y'all, somebody, they had me on the View, I'd tear that View up. I'd tear it up. Roll the clip.
Maybe he needs a little extra padding.
Well, maybe.
But the thing is, this was a choice, and it was a political one. And, you know, we're just not in normal times anymore. And so we know that when there have been abnormal times, like during the civil rights movement, you had athletes speak up. You had someone like...
Time out. And Jim Brown, who was one of the biggest activists as an athlete during the civil rights movement and all that other stuff, Jim Brown supported Trump. Jim Brown was at the White House supporting Trump. What are y'all even saying? These people got to go back 60 years. What do you mean? We passed that stuff. Let him finish, Brandon. Please, Lord, let him finish.
Muhammad Ali, who took a stand against the Vietnam War, and then you've had Juan Carlos, who took a...
Muhammad Ali made a cowardice decision by deciding he went to jail over it. I think he got arrested for it because he decided he was going to try to not go to war, like every other American that had to fight in the war, even if they agreed or not. And that's what you think that's honorable? I'm not saying nothing about my boy Muhammad Ali. He fly like a butterfly, sting like a bee, but that wasn't right what he did. Roll a clip.
Stand against what was happening here in the U.S. I think
she won't say Jim Brown.
The history of this president, and you know the biases of this president. For a certain community, the black community, for me,
don't speak for me.
This feels personal. And I think if you are someone who attacks the community to which I belong, and you support that, that tells me two things. Either one, you agree with his politics and you agree with his biases, or you can be adjacent to it, stomach it, and that means you are complicit in my view.
Yeah, there's a whole Congress.
All right, let me correct these menopausal women. Nothing against y'all real women that do menopause. I'm talking about these nut jobs that let it get the best of them. Now, first of all, more black people have voted for Donald Trump than any Republican in history. Black people were Republicans to start with. They got manipulated and tricked by the Democrats. That's the only reason why they vote for Democrats. And Donald Trump has done more for black people than Democrats have. Donald Trump fully funded HBCUs, had every HBCU president at the White House. Donald Trump had a black pastor coalition come to the White House. I've been to the White House multiple times. Everybody loved Trump. You see Trump out in public, everybody loved Trump. Everybody support and respect Trump. It's these dumb women on the show that just making up stuff in their mind. Donald Trump ain't done nothing to hurt black people. Stopping illegal immigration helps black folks. Democrats want as much illegal immigration as they can to replace you Negroes. Quit listening to these fools. That's why we lost now. Listen to these idiots.